And tonight on PM Express, the sad exit of the Black Stars at the AFCON 2021. There's a conversation about what will better serve the our school children as they go back to school. But of course, tonight, there's a conversation we'll be having soon on that one. But of course, tonight is a sad one for Ghana. And I am very sad. Uri Kwampafo is here to break it all down, what this means to us. Oreku, it's been a sad day for Ghana. What went wrong with the Black Stars?
Well, I think it's an accumulation of perhaps issues compounding, and the final nail in the coffin being this game against Comoros, where Ghana still had their work cut out for them. You know, it was an expanded tournament, 24 teams, so it's more difficult to be knocked out than to not, to progress on the group stages. So it's easier to actually progress than to get knocked out in the group stages because there are 24 teams in the tournament. And so they've made it in such a way that even if you finish third with 2-3 points, there's a possibility you could still qualify. So to be knocked out at this level in a group with the teams such as Gabon, Comoros, it's an indictment to everything that, Ghana's players in history, modern day history, and as far back as our minds can cast us, to Dabedia Hughes, Anthony Boas, all the players who died for the badge. I think this is a big indictment to be able to be knocked out of a 24-team tournament at the group stages, not even finishing above Comoros, finishing bottom with just 1 point is disappointing. But it is what it is, unfortunately, and I think it's time that we look forward with the team. We had this opportunity in 2019 where we were knocked out in the round of 16 stage. We changed almost close to nothing. This time around, we've retrogressed and we've been knocked out in the group stages, suggesting that if we possibly don't make any drastic changes, we might not even qualify to the next AFCON in 2023.
Let's look at our strengths and weaknesses with which we went into this game. People were actually looking forward to today's match to actually, better the fortunes of the Black Stars in the game. It didn't work out. Why didn't it work out for us?
Well, I think that is one of those things, and it was a loss of concentration, conceding that first goal. And whenever you concede first in a game, knowing that you have to win, all of a sudden, you start to panic. No matter who you are, it starts running through your mind, oh my God, we're on the brink of elimination. We have to do something. We have to do something. And then all of these things just are in your mind, and you're not yourself, because football, you play your best football when you're relaxed. So when you concede in the first 4 or 5 minutes of a game, all of a sudden your mind is thrown away, and it's difficult to remain concentrated and to be able to follow the instructions by the coach. And you could clearly see that the team struggled to settle. And unfortunately, whilst they were trying to settle, Andrea, you got a very unfortunate red card where I think, probably decided the game. Ghana spending majority of the game with 10 men. I still think that second half display was the worst and positives from it. Yes, Ghana is out, but to come from 2 goals down with 10 men, they did show some fighting spirit. Unfortunately, that wasn't enough, and they left it a little bit too late. I was a bit disappointed with the game management, but I'm sure we'll talk about that much later.
And definitely, there's a bit about the lineup, and we all agree that there were a lot of new faces in that lineup. Lack of experience played out here, right?
Yeah, you could say so. But then again, it's not too skewed towards lack of experience, because then again, you have 17 debutants at the AFCON. But you look at the lineup, up front you have Jordan Ayew and Andre Ayew, who Andre himself, he's played at 9 different AFCONs. He scored at 6 different tournaments. That's a record. And you look at Jordan himself, and he's also played about 6-7 AFCONs. Thomas Partey, I think this is his 4th AFCON or so. He started playing 2017, 2019, and then this. So this is 3rd AFCON. You look at the likes of Amate, who's also been with the national team for more than 6 years now. Baba Rahman, also 3-4 AFCONs under his belt. I think Yadom has a couple of AFCONs as well. And so, yes, majority of the team is new, but you look at that starting 11, and there's enough experience to beat a side like Comoros, who are qualifying for their first ever tournament. You cannot compare your level of inexperience to theirs. This is their first time tasting such a thing as the AFCON. So there's really no excuse for the Black Stars.
Did we go into this game with a strategy? Did we have a strategy at all?
Yeah, Of course, I think they had a strategy, and it's a bit sad, but I think this was Ghana's best game in the tournament, where they really forced the issue and created chances. And it comes as no surprise that they were able to score more goals than they have in each game in this tournament. And yes, you could tell that when tempers were high and they knew that they were getting knocked out if they don't do something, that could have pushed them. But you ask yourself, why didn't they start this from match day one? Why didn't they play this way? Even if you're playing this well with 10 men, why couldn't you do so with 11 men? So it leaves a lot of question marks, because now they showed you that they had the ability to play well. So what was wrong with the team? And why couldn't they play this way? So I think those are some of the questions that Ghanaians will be seeking answers for.
Milo admitted that the team we had in 2010 is not the same team we have. Was that why we are coming home too early?
Well, that team reached the final, and you cannot tell me that the team that we have now is so low in quality relative to that team that we deserve to go out in the group stages. Yes, I don't think we have the team to reach the final, but I think we had a team to reach the knockout stages and probably go deep into the competition, the quarterfinal or so, because we had quality players in there. We had experienced players in there. And, players who are actually leading the charge for their clubs. Thomas Partey, Andre Ayew, Kamaldeen Sulemana, Joseph Payne. So these are really talented players across Europe. And you would expect them to try and make a name for themselves this tournament. And what makes it more difficult is the quality of the group Ghana found themselves in. They played a Gabonese side who never had any of their top two key players in Lemina and Aubameyang, and they managed to qualify second, actually holding Morocco to a draw in the final game. And then you have Comoros, who, as I said, debut tournament, very, very inexperienced, extremely young team, one of the youngest teams in the tournament. And so to not even finish third and give yourself a chance of qualification is absolute bottom. This is the least the Black Stars could have done. And when you look at the resources, emotions invested into this tournament, and they give you the least, that's when you see, the reactions that you're seeing. So it's a lot more of disappointment. I don't think a lot of people wanted Ghana to win or thought Ghana would win.
But we had hope that
you had hope that you could go far into the tournament. So to produce, the least doesn't really communicate, the right things across, and it doesn't send the right signals, especially when the Football Association are preaching bringing back the love. I wonder where Ghana football goes from here, because this is probably the lowest point in national team, maybe since 2006. Yep. I wouldn't say the 2014 World Cup, because right after that brouhaha, they managed to reach the 2015 AFCON final, and they lost on penalties. But with this, I think it's going to be a very difficult period, because we have the World Cup qualifiers in 2 months, and then there's another AFCON in less than 15 months. There's not going to be any chance to experiment or try and rebuild something. It's going to be competitive games to us. So it's a difficult situation for the team, for the technical team, and then for the coaches as well. I don't know whether they're going to stick with Milo, but I'm sure we'll find out.
What happens to Milo? Because this guy had a cut-out job. He came in to get a cap for us. Now we're here, the lowest, you say. What happens to Milo?
Well, for Milo, he had $300,000 on the table. If he won this AFCON, he was taking that home. Straight cash. Unfortunately, he did not win it. His contract comes to an end later this month, around 27th, 28th February. Now the FA have a decision to make. Are they going to renew it based on what he has done in the World Cup playoffs? Because he's got Ghana to, he's got one door into the World Cup. Ghana just has to win 2 more matches in the playoff and or get an aggregate score against whoever they draw to qualify to the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. Would the Ghana FA extend his deal by another month so that he plays that playoff, or would they bring in someone completely new to try and take the team to the World Cup? So it's a difficult decision, because you're bringing a new coach who's going to play 2 matches, no time to prepare. That would be tough. I think they might stick with Milovan Rajevac, maybe given the benefit of the doubt. Remember, if he goes to the World Cup as well, he gets another $300,000. So all hope is not lost.
Interesting. And where are we going from here? And I heard Nat say that the Black Stars won't be getting calls from their girlfriends tonight. It's a sad spectacle, and I'm really, really sad. But of course, after PM Express, the sports team will come in and actually go deep into the issues that we need to know about the Black Stars' drought to get the AFCON for a long time. we've been looking out for this, but it didn't happen for us this time round also. We'll take a break. When we return, the conversation about what will be better for the needs of basic schools. As school reopens today, there's been intense pressure from teacher unions, CSOs, and other stakeholders in the education sector for government to back down on its new academic calendar for basic schools. Stay with me. I'm coming right back. Welcome back to PM Express, and we're looking at the new calendar from the GES, the semester system, which the teacher unions are resisting fiercely, because on January 14, GES on a Facebook post announced the introduction of the semester-based academic calendar for all basic schools. That's from a trimester system to a semester system. Now, they've given various reasons for introducing this. It says it aligns the basic school calendar with the university system, reduce absenteeism among students, reduce pressure on teachers, create space for teachers to pursue higher education. So this is how the system is going to look like. And from bottom to top, you look at Form 1, which will start school from 4th April 2022 to 20th June 2022. Take their vacation from 21st June and to 3rd September. Then they will go into the second semester, which starts from 25th September and ends 16th December. That ends the academic year. And it's the same with Form 2. They will go to school 7th February to 14th April. Take their vacation between 15th April and 25th June, and then come back to the second semester, which start from 17th July to 26th August. And then go for another vacation to end the semester. If you look at Form 3, it's the same, 7th February to 1st April. That's the first semester. Take vacation between April and 18th April. Go back to school 19th April until end of WASI. That ends the academic year. There's been confusion over this. Now, one of the issues they've been talking about is the introduction of this to also KG and primary. Now, KG would go to school 18th January to 9th January, to 9th June, and then take vacation between 10th June to 25th July, and go back to school 26th July and 16th December. Take another vacation 17th December until next year when the academic calendar ends. The teacher union say this is not workable. It's not workable at all. So these are the reactions coming. They said GES did not consult them. They are calling for withdrawal of the new policy for broader consultations, and they have dismissed claims that they were consulted by the GES. Remember, the GES has been saying that they were consulted, and they say it's untrue. He got to know about the new arrangement after accessing GES's Facebook page. They believe that a critical systematic decision such as changing a 3-term academic calendar system should not be one taken by GES or Ministry of Education committee. GES says it has engaged all of them, but it looks forward to engage them again. And just the question we ask, is this new system necessary? That's what we'll be discussing shortly. My guests are already seated. I'll start with you, Cassandra Chumampofu, who is PRO of the Ghana Education Service. Cassandra, the teachers say you did not engage them before taking this decision, but why?
Viewers and listeners across the country. Let me say that indeed the committee had a representation from the teacher unions, and that is why today we issued the release and said that probably something may have happened at their blind side, and that's why probably they needed further clarification. And so we are open and we are always ready. We've been engaging them. Of course, this is a major policy that we definitely couldn't have taken out the teacher unions. They are our major stakeholders. And so we would engage them. We have a meeting on Thursday to have further discussions with them and to get to know, understand their concerns, and then we'll bring a closure to these issues raised.
You indicated that you'll be meeting the teachers further to discuss it. But let me ask you this. You're talking about children absenteeism as one of the reasons why you had to take this decision. You're talking about teachers having enough time to rest, but the teachers say this will rather stress them up. I mean, was it really necessary to take this decision?
You see, Aisha, basically, we needed to align the academic calendars. You know, we started with the senior high school, it came down to the junior high school. And then we realized our feedback and then the research that we conducted, especially here in the Greater Accra, showed that because the primary and then the junior high schools had different academic calendars, when the primary students vacate and then the GHS students or learners were in session, some parents, they don't allow their wards to go to school because indeed there was nobody in the house to take care of the younger ones, and so they needed to stay. And so per our data, our research, we realized that attendance went down by 11%. In terms of the teacher, we all know that our research has indicated that one of the causes of teacher absenteeism was the fact that some teachers had to leave the classroom to seek for further or higher education. And the trimester system did not allow that. And so they had to leave because the time that the universities would be running their sandwich or other courses would also be in session. And so gradually we are moving towards the alignment to give room for the teachers. So within the period that we would break or would vacate, the universities too would be running their courses, and then they have their free time to go and pursue further education. And that's why we are saying that it would reduce their pressure. I mean, the absenteeism issues also would go down greatly for us.
Be it as it may, let's say that the teachers agree to put up with this directive. Are they going to take home a certain reward for putting in those man hours? Because a semester means that they're going to do more.
Yes, but you know, the fact that we are doing a semester doesn't really mean that it has changed. You know, at first when we were doing the trimester, they were actually doing 40 weeks, 42. Now they are doing 40 weeks. And because we are trying to align, that's why it seems that now it's going to be 20 weeks and then they would vacate, even though they have 1 week mid semester in there. And then the second part would also come. This gradually, because it's the first time, we're going to have 10 weeks per session. They will break and then come again for another 10 session and have a week break, and then we'll end that semester. And so really, we haven't increased the number of weeks that they usually had before when we're doing the trimester, because they had 13 at a point. We ran 13 weeks at we came to 12 and then 15 thereabout. And so we haven't really increased the number of weeks that would affect the teachers. I think we really need to continue our education for them to really understand and appreciate this particular semester.
So let's look at this. The teachers have made a certain appeal to you. You say that you'll be meeting them. Have you reached out to them already? When is this meeting coming on?
Yes, we have. Actually, we even planned to meet them today, but they said they were having some series of meetings, and so we had to conclude on Thursday. And so, God willing, on Thursday, we'll meet the teacher unions. In fact, the labor unions and the pre-tertiary, because we have TEWU also signing the press release that we saw. And so all of them would come to our end. That's NATS, NAGWAT, CCT Ghana, and then TEWU.
Will you consider stepping down this directive at the meeting?
This is a policy decision, and I mean, whatever we do as GES will definitely, the final approval has to come from the ministry. I mean, policies are formulated at the ministry level, and so whatever discussions would have to inform the minister, and then he will approve. But I know definitely would resolve this, because at the end of the day, it's the interest of the students and teachers that we are all seeking for.
Let me bring in Stephen Desu. Steve, the GES has given you reasons for the change in calendar. They have the mandate anyway. What are your concerns with this new system? Do we have Stephen Desu? Kindly unmute for me, Mr. Desu. All right, let's get his line fixed and then we'll get back to him. Kofi Asari is with Africa Education Watch and he joins me in the studio. Kofi, the teachers say the framework is not right for a semester system right now. I know you've been monitoring a whole lot in this sector. How did we even get here?
It looks as if sometimes we just go looking for problems, because we have so much energy and resources to waste chasing problems. Because this is a needless, everything we are discussing is just needless. If you ask the genius and the Ministry of Education, what is wrong with the trimester system, they are not able to tell you anything. The PRO was indicating that it is a policy issue, and so they will have to keep discussing with the teachers without necessarily believing that they will jettison the policy. Has anyone in this country seen that policy document? Have you seen any policy document on this proposed semester system? There's nothing like that. There's no document called a policy document for a proposed semester system. There's nothing like that. You ask and you won't find nothing. So, at the end of the day, it becomes another wish of someone which ends up being imposed onto the sector. But let's ask ourselves, why do we change policies? It is basic in social policy discourse. In social policy management, you change policies when existing policies exhibit deficiencies, exhibit gaps that are not easily surmountable. What deficiencies, what gaps have we, through research and experience, established in the running of the trimester system, which has existed in this country for over 70 years? What gaps have we analyzed, researched into, and established? And if we even establish any gaps, what measures have we taken that has failed to warrant any discussion about a semester system? None. The semester system emerged simply from the fact that we went into a free senior high school. We had inadequate infrastructure, high numbers. It led to double track. It became difficult to manage the tracks within a 3-term system. And so we went for a semester system, which is much easier to manage the 2 batches of students in Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3. So this semester system arose out of a double track emergency, which also arose out of the implementation of the free senior high school policy. Now, how does an emergency intervention that arose through the implementation of a policy suddenly become the baseline, suddenly becomes the yardstick for harmonizing the academic calendar? How does it? Because logically, since the semester system came on the back of double track, one would have expected that immediately double track ends, and we are happy government has made substantial progress in expanding infrastructure in senior high schools, and we can see double track ending perhaps a year from now. So immediately double track ends, all we need to do is that once all our senior high schools revert to single track, we revert to our trimester system, because we did not adapt this semester system because of challenges in the trimester. We adapted it for the convenience of an emergency approach to senior high school education, which was a double track system. So the policy has no ground. There is no policy document. You will never see anything like that. You will ask and ask, you won't find none, because there is no justification for discussing the introduction of a new academic year system called the semester system in the pre-tertiary sector, because there is no established systemic flaw in the trimester system that has been running for over 70 years in this country. That is the challenge we have on our hands. So we have now, someone has sat somewhere and is proposing something, and then the GES is now going around looking for an excuse, a justification, that what teachers will get more time to go and learn. That is dead on arrival. Why am I saying so? At present, about 90% of our teachers are trained. Only about 10% of teachers are not trained. And so you can't tell me that the demand for teacher upgrading by the 10% is what is leading to the change in the academic system. No. Because in 2005, 2006, when we were rolling out the UTTDB, the Untrained Teacher Training Diploma in Basic Education, it was a massive program to upgrade teachers to diploma level. A massive program, converting what we call people teachers into diplomates. Even that, which was a broad intervention to provide broad training to a mass number of teachers. What happened was that the tertiary institutions were asked to align their sandwich programs to situate within the vacation periods within the trimester system, and it worked. This was a national program to upgrade teacher capacity, massive one. How much more when you have about 10% of teachers being untrained who want to train? But the fact is that teachers have an opportunity, teachers who have a diploma have an opportunity to upgrade to degree status through a one-year program being administered by the colleges of education. They normally went for upgrading in April and I think in June and December. It was a 16-week course. What is happening today is that as a result of the introduction of this semester approach, in April, teachers are teaching. June, they are not able to go because mainstream college of education, mainstream students are there. And then in December, that's where they're able to go. So what's going to happen this year is that due to the introduction of this semester system, those who are supposed to have gone to school to do a 2-semester, 16-week-old course to upgrade to degree will now go to school in the 3rd week of December this year. And they will be in school till the 2nd week of January. So in 3 weeks, they will do what should have been done in 16 weeks.
Okay.
They will do 2 quizzes and an end of semester examination. What quality assurance is in this? And on what basis can anyone justify that this new approach is in favor of enhancing teachers' access to capacity building or upgrading opportunities? It actually isn't so. So all the reasons being given, or the excuses are excuses. And we shouldn't continue to approach policy making in this country. The arbitrary approach in policy making in the education sector is one of the reasons why a lot of policies fail and are not able to travel beyond the lifespan of a particular government. And we are seeing a similar approach being exhibited here now. I don't think that anyone in this country, in the sector, has made enough justification on the basis that there are gaps in the trimester system, for which reason we should introduce a semester system.
Let me bring in Nochukoto. He's a ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament. They've been speaking today after the directive. So there's been a back and forth on this with the teacher unions themselves describing the new system as needless. You say it's not workable. If it worked during the peak of COVID, why not now?
Yeah, thank you very much, Marsha. I want to begin from this point that the policy for us as a minority is not workable. Why are we saying so? Any policy must be well thought through, and people must be brought together to make sure that the policy can stand the test of time. And different persons must be put together. The technical committee that came out with this syllabus, I don't know if there were persons on it that studied psychology and then knew that the child at that level of running a semester would not be able to acquire the needed knowledge within time, because the semester as it stands is mainly successful at the tertiary level. And in a semester program, you go for your lectures, you can even have 2 hours in a day, and that may be all, or 4 hours, maximum 6 hours. And you don't sit continuously. But at the basic level, the child is expected to come to school at 7:30 and close at 3:30. What type of fatigue is that? Even to the teacher. How is the teacher going to manage his time? So, as a minority, we are saying that it is not good for the health of the student or the child, and it is not good for the health of the teacher. Now, we know research has shown that after the 11th week in school, children become exhausted and they are not able to absorb anything. So what happens is that there is lateness to school, there is absenteeism. That one we cannot run away from it. And teachers are also human beings. They are not robots. They need time to rest and prepare their lesson notes or lesson plans, mark exercises, do assessment, do review before coming to class. So if you want to put too much pressure on the teacher, that he should cover 20 weeks continuously, that will not help the teacher. And his output will reduce. So we are of the view that let's go back to the trimester that we have tested over the years. What research has the ministry done to tell us that these are the effects that the trimester is having? So we want to go back to, or we want to introduce that semester. In any case, we were told that the junior high school did the semester because they wanted to cover what they have lost in 2020 because of the COVID. And I can tell you that reports are there that that practice did not go down well. Teachers attested to the fact that they were fatigued, the students were fatigued, and it was difficult for them to continue effective teaching and learning. These are some of the reasons why we are of the view that we don't have to impose anything and impose it on the Ghanaian system, which we know we don't even have the facilities to operate. So we are of the view that the minister should go back to the drawing board and then make sure that the right thing is done. We should not be trying, having tried error with the education of our children in this country. That is not helping us.
Desu, thankfully, he's back. He is president of the Innovative Teachers Association. Mr. Desu, is the reasons given by the Ghana Education Service, which include the fact that teachers will have enough time to rest, is it not enough reason for you to actually cooperate with this new directive? Mr. Desu, kindly unmute for me. All right, there seems to be a challenge with Mr. Desu's, but we need to get him to join this conversation because all right, so Mr. Desu is back. Let's hear you.
Well, good evening to you and the teachers watching the. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, Mr. Desu.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. You're on PM Express.
Well, for us as teachers, we think that this whole policy is not a proper policy. We think that the government doesn't want to incur the cost of running a trimester system. And so the government is trying to run away from paying capitation grants. That's the reason why it wants to reduce it from 3 to 2. So this whole thing borders on ability of government to pay, because already government is in the arrest of 4 capitation grant terms that it ought to pay that it has not paid. And so for me, it's a cheap way government want to run away from paying capitation grant. That's all it is. There is nowhere in the world that this policy is implemented. We are challenging the GES and the ministry to give us one country in the world where this is a practice. In any case, our schools are the most boring places to be. Our children or students do not have enough reasons to come to school every day. There are no incentives for a child to come to school as we have it in Ghana. So it is important to recognize that teaching as a job is not like being in an office where you are passing papers around. No. You are dealing with the mind of other persons. And so there's no academic paper or study anywhere in the world about this. Indeed, if you go to the best examples in the world, such as Finland and Singapore, they rather emphasizes on what? Small, reduced number of hours in a classroom and a lot of play. And in these schools, they have what it takes to, conduct proper classroom and the use of instructional time. So if you extend instructional time from 8 to 4, what are you trying to do? In any case, most of our kids are from the poorest homes. Most come to school without food. Others who come to school and leave school to do menial jobs to, make ends meet. How do you justify a situation where a child will be in school and a child will be hungry and a child wants to go home, and because of this, the child cannot go home? For us as teachers, what we are saying is simple. We don't want any incentive for extension of the day of the number of hours we spend in school. We don't want any incentive. We do not want the semester system. Even in universities, students, how many months do they stay in school? And in any case, this number of hours you have to spend in school, what are we doing? You have introduced a new curriculum. Even ordinary textbook to maintain the status quo, they have not provided. There are no computers. There's absolutely nothing meant for teaching in our schools. So we should stay all this number of years to master what? Is it the chew and poor? That has made Ghana poor. Now we are borrowing everywhere. The quality of your education tells on your economy. So for us, we don't want any incentive. We want to maintain the status quo, as in before COVID came. We don't want any semester system, and we don't want we want a trimester, and we don't want any semester.
It's consulted you. Why are you now backtracking?
It's not true. They never consulted anybody. We never had any call from them. So this business of we consulted you, you didn't consult us. Who is telling the truth and who is lying? I think that the whole thing is on GES. What they are saying is not true. They didn't consult teachers, they didn't consult anybody. They decided on their own. And for them, the deputy GES director to say that this is here to stay and that this is a policy moving forward, we think is highly unfortunate. And it's going to make education in Ghana very, 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 Look, most children in our schools may choose not to come to school because of this policy. Because for most of them who have their parents in a mat, it is correct knowledge that places like Mankesim, Asasewa, this place, most marketing centers in Ghana on market days, the kids don't come to school because they are helping their parents at in the marketplaces. Some of our students walk long distances, some even cross rivers before coming to school. Look, it is not the quality of instruction that provide the necessary tools for teachers to use limited time to adequately impact on our children and stop this business so we are extending the time. Why don't you spend the whole 24 hours in a classroom?
So, the GS says that they will be meeting you on Thursday. Has the GS reached out to you? Are you aware of a meeting coming up on Thursday?
GS has adopted a posture of not inviting us for anything, but we'll try to make it to the meeting. We have a suit against them, which is going to be filed in court for what they've been doing again, not inviting for. That's just for another day. The issue here is simple. They should back down on this policy. The unions will not allow this to stand. It's not negotiable. We don't accept this and we will not accept any incentive whatsoever. They should keep their incentive. This issue of trying to reduce the number of terms so that you can reduce the amount of money you pay as capitation grants will not be allowed to stand. If you do not have the money to pay capitation grants, you ought to be honest. You ought to be forthright to the teacher that this is the situation. for us to understand and not to use this means to say that we should use this policy moving forward. In any case, I do not think that any of the directors or anybody who works with GES at the headquarters have their children in any of our public schools. They don't have their children there. The Minister of Education that don't have his children in our basic, public schools. They are in private schools doing UK and other, courses. These are the issues raised here. So your child is in private school doing trimester, and you are imposing this on our, public schools. We think that one, it's intellectually dishonest for persons with high academic credentials to argue this way that a toddler, a child in KG, must be in school for 5 months to 6 months. For me, it's untenable, highly unnecessary, and we don't need this. For me, it's an unnecessary debate that we are having, and as Kofi said, it's much ado about nothing and just wasting time. We should go back to the old system, and that's the position of unions and teachers in Ghana. We simply do not want the system.
It doesn't look like GES is going to backtrack if you listen to what the Director General has been saying. But listen, the teachers are also key if this whole thing will work. How should this issue be resolved?
Why doesn't it look like the GES will backtrack? We've seen governments come and then, present a brazen attitude when they are trying to push down policies arbitrarily through the throat of, sector stakeholders. We've seen so many of such policies. And we know how such policies ended. You remember some time ago, we tangled between 3 years and 4 years in the high school policy. You understand?
Yeah.
And the acceptance of the policy wasn't smooth. It was arbitrary. It didn't see the light of day. When the NDC government was introducing these e-blocks, we made noise that you are building these schools in bushes, in forests. They didn't mind us. But we knew that if another government comes, they won't continue because most of the locations for those schools didn't actually make any policy sense in respect of people commuting to those schools. And then, have you seen any CSO advocating that abandoning blocks should be completed? No, because we know, and we said it then, that the locations where they are citing these schools are bushes where it will be difficult to commute as these schools. So when politicians come into power, and for legacy reasons, they want to do things like this, and we talk to them, we know how they always behave. They will be brazen, they will be stiff-necked, they will not be ready to change, to move. But I'm saying that this particular decision to move from the trimester system, almost a century-old system, to a semester system on the basis of nothing, will never. It's like building a story building in sand. It will never stand because it has no foundation. Even if they continue, I'm saying that they will change it because it has no. Listen, there's another theory that we want to have more contact hours so that we will improve learning outcomes. Really, if children do not have textbooks in classrooms and children do not have desks, about 30% of our children do not have desks. About 40% do not have chairs. About 5,000 schools take place under trees and sheds. If teachers are not available in some schools and students do not have textbooks, if you give them 24 hours instructional hours, it will not change anything. And I keep saying this thing, that what about the correlation between the amount of time teachers spend with students and learning outcomes? What about the correlation? Is it about the quality or the quantity? Look at a country like Vietnam. And I'm happy our education minister always makes reference to Vietnam when he's pursuing his STM, his system agenda. Vietnam it's not too different from Ghana. It's not the US or the UK. Vietnam is one of the key OECD performers in science and maths. Vietnam, that we refer to them as a model in STEM, for which reason we are saying that we're also going to produce 30,000 engineers, blah, 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 which is good. Vietnam's primary school system is only 5 years. It's not 6 years. It's 5 years. Then the more time you spend in school does not determine your learning outcomes. It's about the quality of instruction, the quality of resources available, the quality of monitoring and supervision that yields the learning outcomes, and not the number of hours you spend or the number of days you spend. So I'm saying that the reason for changing the trimester to the semester does not exist. There's no reason.
On Thursday, they're going to be meeting the teachers, just like Sandra indicated. What should happen? What do you expect to happen?
I think that meeting is a waste of time. I'm being honest with you.
Is it?
Because there's no basis for changing an existing policy. In policy management, and I'm saying it again, the reason why you change policy is when a policy is proven to be defective. When the policy is proven to be not effective, then you deploy interventions to strengthen its effectiveness. If the interventions fail, then you have reasons to begin thinking about changing the policy on the basis that interventions to curb or block the loopholes have proven unsurmountable. In this case, my sister, we have not made the case for a semester system based on any proven deficiency in the trimester system. You can increase the number of times, the number of hours teachers teach in school without changing the trimester. You can increase the number of time teachers spend in school without changing the trimester. Number two, teachers need more time to rest. Well, I never read any report that teachers said that they are tired when they go and rest. But teachers can still rest within the trimester. 3, you can give students more time to learn within the trimester. 4, teachers can still have an opportunity to go and upgrade upgrade at the tertiary level during vacations within the trimester. There is not a single reason being given. That tells us that on the basis of the impracticability of this happening within the trimester, let's move to a semester. There's no such. So I think that this is a typical unnecessary legacy issue we are discussing here. And I think we have so many issues to discuss, to focus our energies on in the academic system.
Rather than this one.
This doesn't rank. It doesn't rank low. It is less than 0/10. It doesn't rank.
Let me bring in Nochukoto. The GS has finally agreed to meet the teachers on Thursday. Kofi says that he doesn't even think that meeting is necessary. But for you, how should we move from here?
Thank you very much again. I want to repeat that the introduction of the semester policy is a professionally wrong decision taken by the Ghana Education Service. And I know that until they went to meet the teacher union, they will not have it easy, because the teachers are the practitioners in the system, and they know what is good for them and what is good for the children. So I don't expect any shift in position of the teacher union. But if the Ministry of Education and the Ghana Education Service insist that they should go and implement the policy, I don't think it is going to other way for us, because the reasons that they are applying to the introduction of the semester are not holding water. For me, it will rather increase absenteeism and laziness to school. That's what we are sure of that, because when the students and the teachers are tired, productivity will reduce and outcome will suffer. So that is why we are saying that there's no need for the meeting on Thursday. Once the teacher unions have said it, civil society organizations are saying that this is not a good introduction or a policy to be introduced, why can't the Ministry of Education and the Education Service backtrack?
I'm grateful for your time. Nochi Kotoi is the ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament. Stephen Desu, you heard earlier, is the president of the Innovative Teachers Association. Cassandra Chum Ampofo spoke with us earlier. She's the head of public affairs at the Ghana Education Service, and I'm grateful, so grateful that you came in, Kofi Asari.
I don't think there's any policy. There's no policy. The juniors should just withdraw the directive. The semester system may be necessary because we are in transition for alignment, temporal alignments. But immediately we complete the expansion of senior high schools, which has gone on perfectly well. We are about 80% completion. And we revert to single track in our secondary schools. Let's go back to our trimester system.
It's the best for us. I'm grateful for your time. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Enjoy the rest of our programs.